Good morning, Rotorua. How are you? I'd just like to share a little bit of my testimony. It's a testimony of hope and how the Lord can reach us when we're in our darkest times. So in March of 2006, I had a stroke. Now, it was a very big stroke. You wouldn't believe it looking at me today, but yeah. It was a stroke, the type of stroke that usually you have no hope from. So I'm a registered nurse myself, and excuse the pun, I still can't get my head around what I survived. For those that are medical minded, I had a huge midline shift, which in other words means one side of my brain was pushing on the other, and I was not in a good place. I had a fixed blind pupil, and my coma scale was 5 out of 15. Now that is extremely low. So I was in a very bad place. I was extremely unwell. It was, I had the easy part, I've always said. My wife was the one that sat there and having to pray that whole entire time. And so they actually told my wife that I would not survive the surgery. They actually did not come and I needed emergency craniotomy. And they were, from how bad my brain was on the CT scan, I was declined emergency craniotomy in Auckland Hospital. But thanks to the Lord and a few prayers, yes, the surgery went ahead. Now, my wife was told the whole way along, if he has the surgery, he won't survive. If he has the surgery, he won't wake up. If he does wake up, he will never walk or talk again. And this past week has been my anniversary of that, 15 years that the Lord has continued to give me, you could say, overtime, extra play. And I praise him for that. This week also I spoke at a memorial service for one of my staff members who passed away. And she was the same age as me, and she was a believer. And I, in some ways, are still questioning, Lord, why was I allowed to stay, but she taken? And I think some of those questions we will not know until we finally get home. But I just want to share my recovery wasn't easy. It was actually really difficult. I lost a lot. I was a high-flying nurse at the DHB in Rotorua. I loved my job, I was good at it, but of course I couldn't go back to that. I lost a lot of other things as well. What was the most hardest wasn't so much the physical recovery for me, it was actually the mental health side of it. I saw myself as what I did as a job. I was a high-flying nurse at the hospital, and that's how I saw myself. But as we know, that's not how the Lord sees us. The Lord sees us by who He made us, if that's the right words. We are in Christ, and I love that. I went to listen to a good speaker the other day who said what those words mean, in Christ. Now that word in has a lot of meanings. It's an adjective, it's a verb, it's a doing word, it's a describing word. When you think about it, in Christ, we are in Him. Anyway, long story short, I come to discover that life that I was living was not the life that Christ wanted for me. I was taking a lot of things for granted. I was taking my family for granted. I was off all the time, doing my nursing stuff. I was also an ambulance officer. I was also into the outdoors and climbing and caving and doing all these things, and I was hardly ever home. So it was, not only was it a wake-up call for me and who I am in Christ, but it was also a wake-up call what is actually really important. Our families are important, and most of all, our relationship with in Christ is extremely important. That life I was living before was not a true life. I was living my own world, I was selfish, I was doing my own thing. I thought my nursing career was it wasn't it. So Yeah. So I'd just like to encourage every one of you if you've got medical challenges or even mental health challenges, the Lord is there. He has walked in our shoes, and that's the amazing thing, and that's the thing I really love about being a Christian, that Jesus has walked in our shoes 2,000 years ago. He knows exactly what we're going through. And I just encourage each and every single one of you to just talk to him daily. There's nothing like sitting at his feet chatting with him. And also, if you've got physical issues or mental health, please come and see me after. I'll be more than happy to pray for you. So let me have the honour of doing that. Just come up to me and put a hand on my shoulder and say, could you please pray for me? So thank you, Rotorua, and Renus.